The arena floor was stained with 3 different colors of blood purple, orange, and the unmistakable crimson of human origin. Ilara's vision blurred as she pressed her hand against the gash on her side, feeling the warmth seep through her fingers. The Crithian gladiator towered above her, its 4 arms flexing as it raised its plasma blade for the killing blow. She had been a fool. Trading passage to the outer colonies by fighting in the underground circuits of Station Omega-7 had seemed like a desperate but viable option. No one had told her that humans were considered little more than entertainment soft, weak creatures thrown into the pit for the amusement of the galaxy's elite. The Crithian's mandibles clicked in. What she had learned was laughter. "Pathetic mammal," it hissed in broken galactic standard. "Your species should have stayed in your gravity well." Ilara tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't cooperate. Blood loss and exhaustion had taken their toll. She had managed to wound the creature, hence the purple blood mixing with her own, but it wasn't enough. It would never be enough. Then she heard it. A low, rumbling growl that didn't come from the Crithian. From the darkness of the arena's entry tunnel, something emerged. No, not something. Someone. Multiple someones. They were small, barely reaching Ilara's waist, covered in mottled gray and silver fur that rippled over compact, muscular frames. Their eyes glowed amber in the dim light, and their ears pointed and alert swiveled toward the Crithian with predatory focus. There were 5 of them, moving in perfect synchronization. Cubs. Velrathi cubs. Ilara's heart sank further. The Velrathi were one of the galaxy's apex predator species, but these were children. What sick game was the arena master playing now? "Ah," the Crithian laughed, lowering its blade slightly. "Dessert arrives early." But the cubs didn't attack the Crithian. They formed a defensive semicircle around Ilara, their small bodies tense and ready. The one at the center, smaller than the others, with a distinctive white patch over one eye, looked back at her. Their gazes met, and Ilara saw something that shocked her. Recognition, understanding, purpose. "Curie?" Ilara whispered, recognizing the cub from the station's lower levels. She had found the small Velrathi 3 cycles ago, injured and abandoned near the waste recyclers. Despite having barely enough ration credits for herself, Ilara had shared her food, used her limited medical supplies to treat Curie's wounds. The cub had disappeared after 2 days, and Ilara had assumed it had either died or found its way home. Curie's ears flicked forward, a Velrathi acknowledgement. From somewhere above, in the darkness where the arena's elite spectators watched, a voice boomed out. It was deep, resonant, and carried the harmonic undertones of Velrathi's speech. "Cubs, formation Delta 7. The cubs shifted instantly, their movements fluid and practiced. They weren't lost children. They were trained. "Assessment?" The voice continued, now speaking in galactic standard for the audience's benefit. Curie's response came as a series of chirps and growls. Velrathi battle can't. Even through the alien phonemes, Ilara heard the certainty in the cub's voice. A pause. Then, finish the fight. What happened next would be analyzed in military academies across 3 sectors for the next decade. The cubs moved as one entity, a single predatory consciousness split across 5 bodies. The Crithian, despite its size and experience, had made a fatal miscalculation. It had assumed cubs meant weakness. It had forgotten that Velrathi cubs were born in the midst of their species' most dangerous hunts, evolved to survive where adult predators of other species would fail. Curie led the assault. Despite being the smallest, the cub moved with terrifying precision, darting between the Crithian's legs and hamstring it with razor-sharp claws. The gladiator roared and swung its blade downward, but 2 more cubs had already scaled its back, their small jaws finding the vulnerable neural clusters at the base of its skull. The Crithian spun, trying to dislodge them, and that's when the remaining 2 cubs struck at its arms. Plasma blade clattered to the ground as the gladiator's grip faltered. It tried to activate its secondary weapons, wrist-mounted flatchet launchers, but Curie was already there, small paws striking with surgical accuracy at the control nodes. The entire engagement lasted 17 seconds. The Crithian collapsed, not dead but completely incapacitated, its nervous system disrupted at multiple points. The cubs regrouped around Ilara, their breathing barely elevated, their formation never breaking. The arena fell silent. Then, slowly, the darkness above illuminated. A massive Velrathi stood in what Ilara now realized was the Instructor's observation platform. His fur was silver with age, decorated with the scars of 1,000 battles. His eyes swept across the arena floor, taking in the scene with professional assessment. The human showed you kindness when she had nothing, the instructor's voice carried clearly now. She shared food when she was hungry. She tended wounds when she herself was injured. She did this not for gain, not for alliance, but because it was the nature of her species to care for those in need. He leaned forward, his gaze shifting to the assembled spectators, representatives from dozens of species, all of whom had bet heavily on the Crithians' victory. You call humans weak. You call them soft. You see their compassion as a fatal flaw. His lips pulled back, revealing rows of predatory teeth. But we Velrathi know the truth. A species that protects the vulnerable despite their own weakness? A species that shows kindness in the depths of cruelty? That is not weakness. That is the most dangerous kind of strength. Kiri padded over to Ilara and pressed against her side, the opposite side from her wound, offering support. The other cubs maintained their defensive formation. The human is under Velrathi protection now, the instructor declared. Any who wish to challenge this may enter the arena. No one moved. Medical drones descended, their lights cutting through the darkness. As they began treating Ilara's wounds, she looked at Kiri, at the small cub who had somehow assembled a rescue. "Thank you," she whispered. Kiri's response was a soft chirp, but Ilara understood it clearly enough. Pack protects pack. As consciousness faded and the medical drugs took effect, Ilara's last thought was a revelation. Humanity had spent so long trying to prove they belonged among the stars through strength and technology. But perhaps their greatest weapon had been there all along, the simple, stubborn insistence on kindness, even when the galaxy offered none in return. The cubs had learned that lesson well, and they would teach it to anyone foolish enough to forget.